We a step closer to World War III. Russia is now helping Iran kill Americans. This is after Trump spent an entire year sucking up to Putin and doing whatever he can to help Russia, basically since he took office. Then we find out yesterday Russia entered the war by providing Iran with intelligence. CNN reported that Russia is providing Iran with intelligence about the locations, movements of U.S. troops, ships, aircraft, and this is according to multiple people familiar with the U.S. intelligence reporting. Now, the same day we find out Russia is helping Iran with intelligence, we hear Putin threaten to cut off gas supplies to Europe. So we got his buddies in Iran destroying all of the oil and gas infrastructure in the countries around him. And they also blocking a very important oil and gas shipping route. And they just driving up demand for Russian gas. That's a very smart move by them. Putin is helping Iran out with intel, and Iran is helping Russia control the energy market. But I want to pause right there and ask everybody to subscribe to my YouTube page and sign up for my email list. Those are the best ways to stay in the loop on all things politics with Steve. Now let's get back to it. Putin has to have something on Trump. There's no way that any U.S. president can let Russia get away with providing intel on U.S. troops and not do anything about it. I mean, as much as Trump did this entire time for Russia and, claiming Putin was his friend, I mean, let's think about it. As soon as Trump took office, he began scaling back military support for Ukraine. And eventually, the U.S. stopped sharing intel with Ukraine just altogether. And honestly, even before that, Ukraine stopped sharing intelligence with the United States just out of suspicion that the Trump administration will leak it to Russia. And when a self-pronounced tariff man was putting additional tariffs on everybody else, he did not put additional tariffs on Russia. He slapped tariffs on all countries the U.S. trade with. Some countries the U.S. don't even trade with. But this man did not put additional tariffs on Russia. He threatened Greenland when the EU pissed off Putin by giving Ukraine a loan. When Biden left office, the Russian economy was on the ropes. Putin was isolated. He couldn't even leave Russia without fear of being arrested because he had a warrant out for his arrest by the International Criminal Court. And foreign leaders didn't really want to publicly do any sort of meaningful business with him outside of, Iran, Cuba, Belarus, and, countries like that. And you know what Trump did? Trump invited that man to the United States. Y'all remember he had U.S. service members on their hands and knees rolling out literal red carpet for Putin. All right, and we had more breaking news on Friday. Trump said he will lift some sanctions on Russian oil to ease pressure on the oil markets. The problem is, all that's going to do is give Putin more money for his illegal war that he's doing in Ukraine. The United States is an ally of Ukraine. Trump is clearly an ally of Putin. Why else would you be adding more funds for him to keep conducting this war? But now we have a problem in Iran, and the United States needs Ukraine's help. Let me explain. So Iran is one of the pioneers in modern drone warfare. If I had to rank them, they'd probably be the number 2 country in this category. They produce something called the Shi'ai drone, and this drone is very cheap to make and very effective. They've been supplying Russia with these drones during their war in Ukraine, and it's basically one of their main weapons. Now, Iran has been using the data it collect from the battlefields in Ukraine, and they've been perfecting this drone. And this drone is now a serious problem. And for the United States, it's a math problem. The United States is using missiles that cost $1 million per missile. And the missile launching system that launches these missiles is several $1 million. And by the way, the supply of these missiles is very limited. And that missile launching system is chasing around drones that cost about $50,000 to make, and they are extremely quick to make. You can't win that battle. They can afford to put way more of those drones in the air, and they can do it way quicker. So it's basically an infinite supply of these drones. So that put Trump in a crazy position. Remember when I told y'all Iran was probably number 2 in drone warfare? Well, guess what? Ukraine is probably number 1 in drone warfare. So Trump had to crawl back to Zelensky and ask for help because when Trump took office, he started withdrawing aid from Ukraine and they couldn't afford all of these expensive missile systems. So they had to learn how to defend these drones without these systems. And now they the experts at making and operating these cheap drones. So again, now Trump needs Zelensky. after J.D. Vance and Trump treated him like this in the White House.
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring it into this conflict. And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
Influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards.
And by the way, y'all remember Trump told us how he talked to Putin. Remember when Zelensky came to the United States to ask for Tomahawk weapons and Trump had to ask Putin, was it okay for him to give Ukraine Tomahawk weapons? Y'all remember how Trump was talking to him? I'm going to give y'all a hint. Trump was very polite. There was no bass in his voice. You know, he was extremely nice.
I did actually say, would you mind if I gave a couple of thousand Tomahawks to your opposition? I did say that to him. I said it just that way.
Said it just
that
way.
The idea. He really did like the idea. No, I said it that way. You have to be a little bit lighthearted sometimes, Adam.
Typically ask you not to provide Tomahawks?
So, wouldn't anybody? I mean, it's been in the news. Who wouldn't do that?
It's insane to me that MAGA really believes that world leaders were afraid of Trump. But another reason I thought the way Trump was treating Ukraine is just stupid and bad politics is because after this war, Ukraine gonna be a military powerhouse. And I definitely want to hire them as an ally of the United States. So, of course, Zelensky said, yeah, he will help. He will send, Ukrainian experts to the battlefields to help the United States out because that's what allies do. But remember, the only reason the United States is in this situation is because Trump started a war that he had no plan for. He honestly didn't even think the war would last this long.